And welcome to another edition of the Bullheaded Podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and P. Bush. How you guys doing?
Doing all right, man. We were talking pre-show, but went 1-1 fantasy. Aaron Rodgers helped me out there on one league, and the Dallas defense screwed me over in the other. Tom Brady, of course, had to throw a pick when he never likes to throw picks, but whenever I need him not to, decides to throw one, man. So you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, man. All I gotta do is say, "Welcome back, Saquon." Man,
Mm.
Saquon is back. RB1 is back. This dude has
For
an
sure.
opportunity to win the rushing record if he stays healthy, because this
Yep.
guy looks 100% healthy. And Brian Day, offensive guy, man, he got some balls on him, man.
Yeah, he
This
does.
this dude about winning. He ain't about losing right now. This dude is putting it all on the line, man, and looks like the guys believe in him. So maybe this rejuvenation with the new head coach of the former offensive coordinator of the Bills, man, bring some magic over there to the Giants, man. It's gonna be interesting because the NFC East, man, it's wide open. Man.
Wide
It's
open.
wide open, man.
For sure. Dayball, salute to him, man, for putting an imprint on the culture. Just going for two right there. You got one of the better backs in the league when healthy. And that was just cool to see for the Giants because they got them off to a great start. So, that was one of the games that were, I mean, to be honest, there was a lot of great games. That 1 o'clock slate was full of a lot of surprises and upsets and things of that nature, I guess you could say, in the NFL. But we're gonna go over this past week one and see which games were, I guess you could say, of interest to us. And People, I'm gonna start with you.
Well, I got to quickly shout out my Chicago Bears, man. It was a brutal game to watch. First half was atrocious, but Fields they were playing under the same conditions in that rain, crappy weather, and Fields happened to be making the better plays. I don't blame Trey Lance. It was pretty much his first full NFL game that I think the expectations were kind of on his shoulders at that point. I thought it bounced off of him really well just watching his post-game press conference too. I think he's just kind of like, you know what, this was a very one-off game, bad conditions. What can you do? But I'm happy about my Bears. They were actually throwing the ball and running play action, boys. Running play action finally. But yeah, man, I thought that early slate, I thought special teams, man, there were a lot of plays throughout this weekend. McPherson, no hate. I can't believe Minkah Fitzpatrick pulled a Troy Polamalu, just reincarnated him and jumped through that line to block that extra point, and Steelers pull it out in the end. But yeah, there were a lot of great games. I thought Baker was going to pull it off in the end. He might have come back on that Browns team, but Jacoby Brissett, for how rough of a game he had, he did make that final drive to put him in the field goal position. And their rookie just nailed it in this first one. I mean, 50,
he really
I think it was
did.
57 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think Cody Parkey is now officially the backup kicker on the Cleveland Browns now. But yeah, man, no, it was an exciting week. I thought, I was just happy to have football back. I thought there were some big running back performances. Zoo, you pointed. Saquon probably the big standout. McCaffrey, not so much. Still scored. But I was also really impressed with DeAndre Swift. I know we were just talking about him pregame. Yeah. He's splitting a lot of goal line carries with Jamal Williams, and he stole 2 away from Swift this weekend. But this man still put up 144 and a touchdown, catching balls out of the backfield. Got him on my team, so I can't complain, man. It was a really fun week of football to watch. Exciting games.
Yeah, man. I was really impressed with the Eagles offense, man. Because legit, they're a throwing football team. Even though they had like 4 rushing touchdowns, man, but it looks like they're going to be an aerial assault team with the acquisition of AJ Brown, man. This guy trying to make people know that this guy, I'm elite, man. Like that's Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams, Justin Jeff Cooper Cup class, man. He's like AJ Brown, like I want in, man. I want in. I'm the guy. I have chemistry with my quarterback. Makes sense because they're friends off the field, man. And the way that he's looking, but Jalen Hurts got those googly eyes for AJ Brown, man. Because Devontae Smith got nothing, man. That guy got absolutely nothing. Like Goddard didn't do much. So AJ Brown is his favorite target, and he's his yak, man. His yak is just crazy because when AJ Brown catches the football, man, he's like a running back. He just trucks over people.
Him and
he
DK.
Legitimately trucks exactly. Like he's just a physical specimen. And watching that performance, like offensively, man, my goodness, their aerial assault. I think I already said like the freaking Eagles this year. I have them as a sleeper team winning the entire NFC because I am not impressed with the NFC at all,
especially after week 1. Yeah, maybe the Vikings.
Obviously, with the Rams losing, Packers looking the way they are, these are, I guess, the top contenders that Vegas had initially. But a lot of these teams looking a little mediocre. A little mediocre because I think AFC is just way better. But after week 1, just like proving more facts right now. So I'm like, the NFC is wide open. think the Eagles have a legitimate chance of making it. So I'm
Especially
really
with
impressed with Hurts, man.
Prescott getting hurt too.
Yeah, Dak Prescott with that injury, man. Even though he looked like he was injured when he was playing, man, because
he didn't play before that.
No,
he was god awful. Like some of the throws that he just overthrew CeeDee Lamb a couple times, man. Like it was just really, really embarrassing by the Dallas Cowboys. Like I'm not even surprised no more, man. I'm not surprised no more. Like, man, it's embarrassing. But the Eagles, man, that's what caught my eye because offensively, they're very pleasing to watch. They're that offensive line. The running attack with Jalen Hurts, pretty much, I'll tell you, this dude's one of the best running backs in football right now. Like, this dude, got 90 yards rushing as a QB already. So, I'm like, Jesus Christ. He even helped Miles Sanders get a tutty, man. I haven't seen that.
Finally.
Resurgence, maybe.
I haven't seen that in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders is funny. Matt Berry has had him on like his hate list for like the last 3 years. Like, he hates Miles Sanders. So maybe he gets reverse jinx and he turns into a decent player for fantasy. But yeah, I agree with you with the Eagles. I was really surprised with just the amount of targets that AJ Brown got. Like, I don't know if that was just a one-off how Detroit was playing their defense, but it's gonna be kind of crazy if you're a Devontae Smith owner that it might have to be looking to trade him if it looks like that with the targets. But for me, I was very excited watching Mahomes because my MVP pick looked really good in those 5 touchdowns. Now, if you're a fantasy owner, it's going to be difficult. And he did, I guess, preface it before the season, like, look, sorry to you fantasy guys, but whoever's on the team, it's going to be an equal share. And I think he kind of displayed that against the Arizona Cardinals.
Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah. Edwards-Helaire had a nice little resurgence. I'm a big fan of the smaller backs. And I think maybe at one point, I when they were both healthy, I liked Dobbins a little bit more. But Helaire had a pretty good game, and it kind of showed maybe he's a sleeper or somebody you may need to trade for in fantasy. But I just like how Mahomes was operating the offense. Now, we all still know it's one game. We know Kelsey's going to get all his targets, but it's going to be interesting if he's still going to be able to do it. And there's no shade against Arizona. I think they're a decent team, but DeAndre's not there. There's a chance that they might not be as good as we think this year. But I do want to see how in further games with Mahomes, if he's going to be able to continue this spreading the wealth around and getting other guys opportunities to score. So that was one thing that I like just for my pick. Chargers look good. I am interested to see about Keenan Allen because it is a hamstring, how much that linger. Yeah, that's kind of a little concerning because then you're going to be asking Mike Williams to turn into the number 1, and maybe he's ready for that. Who knows? I like Josh Palmer, but
Michael. I got to rant about Mike Williams, man. This brother gets you 20 yards or gets you 100 yards. Like, this guy has no in between on a fantasy football production. Yeah. He's legit the definition of boomer bust because he's super talented. He got the bag. He got $60 million, $20 million a year. So they want to feature this guy, obviously, as an elite weapon for Justin Herbert. But my Lord, I was watching that game. I forgot he was out there.
Yep.
I forgot he was out there. Like the freaking tight end, I saw more action for the Gerald Everett than freaking Mike Williams, man. So, as a fantasy owner of Mike Williams, man, very, very frustrating. But with Keenan Allen out, you got some targets are opening up, man. But watch like Josh Palmer go off, man. Like
exactly. There's another guy that had a good game, another receiver. I don't remember his name, but he scored a touchdown.
He got his touchdown exactly. So like Justin Herbert spreading it around too. So who knows who's gonna score on the Chargers, man.
Yeah,
it was DeAndre Carter. He had a good game.
DeAndre Carter, yeah. I saw him.
But Carr in that game too. I think we got to talk about that a little bit because I think we talk about the AFC West a ton. And Devontae, of course, comes out, puts up like 140.
He was godly.
Touchdown. He was
you
god.
See that crossover move?
Yeah,
that little that shimmy. He just put that guy in a circle. Man, that route running is impeccable.
He makes it look easy, but you can tell their running game very iffy right now. And Carr just throwing 3 picks, man. I mean, what can you do? He needs to play better if they're going to want to compete in that division, let alone in the AFC. And we know how competitive that is, to Zoo's point earlier. So that's the one I want to watch because they have to play him again, and they have to play 2 other teams in this division that are going to give him as hard, if not harder, games than the Chargers did.
I want to ask you guys, how do you think the Bucs look? I wasn't impressed by them. Especially their offense.
I like their defense. The offense, I was
their defense is good.
I was really impressed by their defense.
Fournette did look good.
Fournette did look good. No, who looked really good was Julio.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a couple
Julio
of bombs.
looked
Especially with
amazing.
Godwin.
Some of those
Godwin.
catches he had, like, because Tom Brady let it fly a couple times. I love watching Tom Brady play. He just has to let it fly 50 yards a couple times during the game, and hopefully one of those hit. And that Julio catch, that was not easy. And he was actually he looked quick out there. He looked quick out there.
We're doing more end arounds, I think, too.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, if Julio Jones is similar to Atlanta Julio Jones, man, don't even need Chris Godwin. You got Mike Evans, who's the definition of consistency. He's going to be a future Hall of Famer, 1,000 yards a season. And that tutty by Mike Evans was sick, too. Like, that was not that good of a pass. He just made a grab that looked nice.
Thought I had a chance.
Yeah, Mike Evans, man. That dude gets the tutties, man. That's what he does. Because, like, offensively, I think they're going to be fine because you got Tom Brady with those weapons. But I'm really, really impressed defensively of how they made the Cowboys unwatchable.
Team Hicks.
Unwatchable. They were the worst offensive team in week 1 of football.
Yeah, didn't score a touchdown.
Watch them on offense.
Yep.
Like, they couldn't get in the red zone. They would get a pick in midfield and would not be able to get a first down. I was like, it was such a pathetic showing. Was that home too? Wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Embarrassing. That's all I gotta say. Embarrassing.
What I'm nervous about if I'm a Cowboys fan is you kind of wonder after, because they're saying he's got 4 to 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, whatever. They're trying to rush him back.
Jerry Jones
they're
said
trying
4
to rush
weeks.
him back. Yeah, that's
they're
crazy.
trying to rush him back,
I have a broken finger, like, all right, or whatever. But I'm nervous as a Cowboys fan if, say, Dak comes back and, coming off the injury, he doesn't play as well. Like, when do you maybe start having a conversation about, like, do we need to move on with Dak? Because it's like he has been injured a decent amount.
Hate him a lot.
He didn't, like, to your point, so he didn't look good before he got hurt.
No.
Awful.
Like, he couldn't get CD the ball. He was, like, double clutching. And I don't think the offensive line was awful to where he just had no times. Like, the line got beat a little bit, but I thought the guy that they had in that left tackle, he was okay. He wasn't god awful, the guy they picked in the first round. So it's like, when do you start having the conversation of, like, is Dak, like, they had to pay him because you got to pay quarterbacks. Like, to me, that's not the barometer of, like, do we need to move on? Like, you got to pay the guy if he's average. So it's like, he's hurt, like, he got hurt a couple years ago, like, pretty significantly. He's got his thumb, or I don't know if it's his throwing hand. I think it is his throwing hand. It's hurt now. So it's like, if he comes back off this injury and say they miss the playoffs again, it's like, what is that going to do? Because we do know this isn't Jacksonville. This isn't, another smaller franchise. This is the Dallas Cowboys. And what if next year, because, this year they're saying the quarterback draft is a little bit deeper. What if you take a flyer on a guy in the 3rd or 4th round like they did with Dak that could maybe drop just because of the girth of talent of quarterbacks? I mean, if it was me, I would take a shot. If there's a 4th round guy that I like a lot, I would take a shot at the quarterback. Because Cooper Rush, all due respect, he's not getting it done. So, like, I would take a shot next year in the draft if there's a guy that I like that's available. But we'll see. Maybe
I don't know. The way they were relying on Dak Prescott, they wanted him to be a franchise quarterback that game. They were throwing the football a lot because on the ground, they're pretty effective. I don't know. You guys saw my boy Zeke out there. He looking slim out there with the little
all black visor.
Yeah, man, he looking sick out there. When he ran the ball 5 yards a carry, I'm like, that's my boy Zeke. But they didn't run the ball that much. Dak Prescott had more pass attempts than Tom Brady, and the dude was injured.
Yeah,
they were just chucking the football. They were chucking the football way too much. Like, they got to get in their head. The only way to win games is by dominating possession by running the football.
How they did the rookie years.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You need Zeke like getting that 1,600 yards. I don't care if you use Zeke Powell. You got to dominate the paint, man. Dominate the run game, and they didn't do that. And, like, I don't know, like Noah Brown Noah Brown out there, man. Like, bunch of nobodies out there, man. Dalton Schultz, like, this dude getting a little dink and dunks, man. They ain't getting it done. Getting a little 5-yard dink and dunks at those. And CeeDee Lamb does not look like a wide receiver one. Even though Dak had some off throws, like, he had some catches that he could have caught, missed some catches. Like, the guy had 11 targets and 2 receptions.
Yeah.
That's
11 targets and two receptions. Like, if half of them were bad, you got to be able to catch some more balls than 2 receptions. So, like, they made him the franchise wide receiver one by getting rid of Amari Cooper. But my Lord, man, like, I'm looking at that draft. All I'm thinking about is Justin Jeff, man. That's all I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
That's all I'm thinking about. Because if my memory serves me right, he was drafted in front of Justin Jefferson. So they got to keep that.
You're right.
Yeah, he was drafted in the teens. Justin Jeff was in the 20s. So you got to keep that in mind. So you got to keep that in mind. You got Justin Jeff over there dropping 111 yards in the first half, and CeeDee Lamb can't get 30 yards in a full game. You got to keep that in mind.
Against really good corners at Green Bay too, even though Jair wasn't on them a lot, but still, Eric Stokes is really good.
Yeah, I'm just thinking you got to think about that stuff. You're the Dallas Cowboys of the potential mistakes you've done. So, as a Cowboys fan, I'm real sad. My quarterback's injured. My team looks pathetic. So, yeah, it's just another year of being a Cowboys fan, man. Another year.
And I think that just more proves your Eagles pick, Zoo. I think it's
I feel real good about the Eagles. I love that offense, man.
Yeah, unless the Giants just go God mode, and I was impressed with their game against the Titans, but I think
it's a tough game.
The Commanders too. I mean, it was
against the Jaguars. I didn't think they were going to win, man. I thought the Jags were going to win, man. I thought the Jags.
But I like the Commanders' weapons though. Carson's he's such a wild card, but
exactly
they really Curtis Samuel is like maybe a flash in the pan, but if you get Dotson, Samuel, and McLaurin being really, really, really good, like high-end receivers, and then you got Gibson, and then you're gonna have Brian Robinson coming back, McKissick. Like they got weapons. Yeah. So
they got these hybrid dudes. Like Curtis Samuel's like an RB / wide receiver. Antonio Gibson, he's a definition of a flex. The dude played wide receiver in college. So they got all these like hybrid type of dudes that they're like using as a versatility and using Antonio Gibson's like skill set as being a receiver, which we did not see last year. And Antonio Gibson right now, obviously, this guy has the RB1 role right now, and he looked pretty damn good in his first game of football. So a lot of preseason hate was then on there, man. This dude getting benched, going special teams now, but then he got this opportunity to start. He's taking the wheel right now, and he looked really, really good in his first week one performance.
Sean, you were 1 year off, man.
Part of Antonio Gibson too is in the draft I had a choice in this draft to take him or AJ Dillon, and I'm happy with AJ Dillon. Why couldn't you be that way for me last year? But apparently he had a turf toe, so whatever. But I think one other team I want to shout out is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like they just always come to the fist fight. Like they are the perfect example of like the guy that's your friend that if you go out with him and you get into a scuffle, they're gonna fight with you. Like they're not gonna leave and like try to dip off. They're gonna fight with you, and that's what Pittsburgh is. They brought the fight to like Cincinnati. They made Joe Burrow like it was his first start ever. It was crazy. Like they had Joe Burrow throwing picks everywhere, had him scrambling. Like their guys wouldn't like I guess in place like. That's just Pittsburgh does that. Now, quarterback is a little kind of with Pittsburgh, but if the defense continues to just play in that realm of causing turnovers, which is very hard to do because you can't predict turnovers, but if they play in that realm of being an elite defense, then maybe Trubisky gets better and they're okay. But Najee is a concern because they say he's good to go this week, but I mean, high ankle, that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is also TJ getting cleared, not cleared, but he obviously doesn't need the surgery, not tearing that tendon in the pec area. So that they lucked out with both Najee and TJ, just with the possible circumstances that they could have had. Getting Najee back, even if he sits for a week.
TJ out for the rest of the year?
No. He's 6 weeks. 6 weeks. If he needed surgery, he was going to be out, but he didn't tear the tendon. So he just needs to rehab it. Yeah. So that's huge for their defense because I don't know. That pick he had on the defensive line was just ridiculous.
Yeah,
he just swiped it off Burrow. But yeah, I thought Najee, there were a lot of people concerned about him going down for a while. One of the buddies in our league, it was the first thing he said. But it looks like he'll be back. At least I would probably give him a game off, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't play him next week or this week.
Yeah, it was interesting. Watching that Steelers game, they used Chase Claypool as a running back a couple times.
Yeah, they did.
That was quite surprising. I wouldn't see he's a bigger dude and using him as a running back. Usually the smaller little dudes that are quick, but they used Chase Claypool, who's a physical, tall receiver prototype guy as a running back a couple times. That's interesting. But man, that game ending, man, nobody wanted to win that game, man.
Nope.
No.
I was watching those field goal kicks, man. I was just like, man, I just want to low key. I was pretty happy because I got to see that Deontay Johnson catch, man. That dude freaking did the Jordan logo to catch that football, man. So we got a little more highlights of the extra possession, but. My God, nobody wanted to win that. When Pearson got that kick block, man, and then Chris Boswell had that field goal miss, I was just like, oh my Lord. If I'm Jamar Chase, man, and I got that tutty, man, I'm like, man, this should have been the dub, man.
Yeah.
That should have been the game-winning tutty, man. Even because he also had a touchdown that they didn't call a touchdown, but I think they should have challenged that call too. But yeah, I'm watching Jamar Chase, man. I'm just like, Jesus Christ. We're watching
him and JJ.
We're watching some Hall of Famers caliber dudes, man. Like, I don't know what they're feeding these boys in LSU, man, but you got Odell, Jamar Chase, Justin Jeff. It is unbelievable. These guys are
high, like all pro. It's not even just like Pro Bowl, all pro type.
These are
guys.
elite. These are legit top 5 receivers in the game at what? In their first years and second year of football. I'm just like, it is absolutely incredible watching these guys play, because dropping 100 yards and 120 yards on 10 receptions, 16 targets. Jesus.
Especially with T getting concussion too.
Yeah, T Higgins went, I think, the second quarter. Hopefully that won't linger for too long. But and finally, I guess we do this every year because this happened at the same time last year. Are we concerned a lot about the Packers? Like a lot.
Oh, man, not going to lie, man. Last year, I remember that Saints game. It was quite depressing. This game also gave me quite depressing because after I saw that Christian Watson man, I'm like, it's over. It's over. It's over. Like those are just morale-killing plays, man, because that was a beautiful pass. That was a perfect pass.
Perfect.
Good route. Got open. Good. All you got to do is catch the damn football, man. Oh, he choked, man. That was straight up choke job. I feel like he got too nervous, man. First start, man. Second round pick. Supposed to be the heir apparent to Devontae Adams, man, who's dropping buckets over there on the Raiders. There's Watson guys like, oh my Lord, this dude didn't like. Our eyes didn't look at this brother the rest of the game, man. He just like, I can't look at this dude.
He had some garbage catches at the
end. Like he had a little run. The game was already over. Like after
that when Jordan Love was in though, or
Jordan Love. Love train.
That's bad in a division game to be doing that. Yeah. I mean, look, they got a tasty matchup on Sunday night. We all know. Oh yeah. Bears, Packers.
I won't be worried if they lose to the Chicago Bears. That's how putting the red alarms on. If like Rodgers has like a bad game and they actually lose that game, like right now, I don't got the bright alarms yet because. You know my feelings about the Vikings this year, man. Elite offense, elite coaching. They're talking about it's all about assault right now. And right now they're maximizing that skill set of Justin Jefferson, man. Like got a nice balance with Dalvin Cook on the ground, Justin Jeff in the air, Adam Thielen as a complimentary player. Kirk Cousins looking nice, man. Yeah. Captain Kirk, man. I got him a lot of leagues this year in fantasy football. He's one of my sleeper guys this year. Kirk Cousins looking really, really good. A lot of it because of Justin Jeff just yak after catches. But man, oh man, they got a special guy over there. Yeah, they got a special player over there, and their offense. I think legitimately they could win 11 games this year and definitely make the playoffs. Yeah, like for sure. I think they're an elite team this year, and especially in the NFC.
And seeing themselves beat the Packers too, I think that's just also a huge boost, and obviously is big for the division outcome in the end.
Yeah, man. That's like the last little take I wanted to get in for that. Like you say, I'm not with the alarm bells either with the Packers, but yeah, the Bears, if they come in or if the Bears beat them, then that's going to be I wouldn't say that the Packers season is over, but it's like there's going to be a lot of people, I guess, on the Packers side maybe checking out, especially the fans, because I don't think they've ever started.
Man, they need Lazard back, man. They need Lazard back.
That's true. They do
need Lazard back because, like you say, just for somebody out there that has experience and know where he's going to be, because you do not want to depend on rookies and Randall Cobb as your weapons. Like you just don't.
They got babies and old men on the field right now. Man. They got no guys in
between.
No. Yeah, so it's going to be definitely Rodgers' toughest challenge yet. But fast forward, we're going to be looking to week 2. There's still a bunch of matchups that I would say are very enticing, including one on Thursday night. But I wanted to ask the guys, where are they going in terms of games that they're keying on, a particular game? There's some division matchups as well. And Zoo, I'm going to start with you.
Man, this is an easier one, man. This is prime time, man. Prime time on Amazon Prime Video, man. You got the Chargers versus Chiefs, baby, man. You got Chargers versus Chiefs. Because after that Mahomes virtuoso performance, man, this brother's like, man, where they rank me again? They put me at 4 or 5 this year, the NFL ranking players again. Like, they keep disrespecting this dude every single year, man. I don't remember him ever getting first, even after his year where he had 50 touchdowns. Yep. As his first starter for the entire season, as one of the greatest seasons I've ever seen as a regular season quarterback that Pat Mahomes pulled off. So you got this opportunity. Like after that butt whooping with the Cardinals, man, like Kyler Murray, man, it was double XP COD weekend, man. So that guy probably got some gaming in. So that brother looked like Garbo. That butt whooping, 5 tutties, man. You got freaking Pacheco getting freaking tutties, man. 62 rushing yards. Like Pat Mahomes got that magic touch.
Yep.
Still like you said, like wide receivers. Obviously, he has his go-to guy in Travis Kelce, who's still getting buckets at his age. 122 yards and a tutty, man. This guy just looks all reliable. This guy's the most. I think he's the greatest tight end of all time. Travis Kelce is the greatest tight end of all time. Yeah, so you got Pat Mahomes against the Chargers, and he's your boy Justin Herbert, man. It's going to be real interesting because right now the Chiefs got a 4-point spread right now, man. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. That is really interesting. We're expecting a high-scoring game, 55 points over and under right now. It's going to be a shootout, and I think Mahomes is going to be like, you compare me to Justin Herbert? Man, I think he's going to take it personally, man.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Some people before the season are like, might like Justin Herbert a little more than Patrick Mahomes. Man, his fundamentals look a little better, man. He's more a traditional looking quarterback. Pat Mahomes got this a little sideshow, man, a little street football, man. So some people don't like that, but Mahomes like, man, I'm just better, man. I'm just better at football than this guy, and I think he's gonna try to sell the score, man, especially against the Chargers, man. That hasn't won a damn playoff game. He's gonna be like, man, I am gonna humble the Chargers, man. I'm gonna try to blow them out because that first game, man, they want to embarrass the Cardinals. They want to embarrass them. And I feel like the same thing with the Chargers on prime time, Thursday night, man. He's going to be making CEH look good. Hopefully he makes my boy Juju look good. I want a tutty, man. I'm a little sad that Juju didn't get a tutty last game, but this game he's going to get a tutty, man, on prime time. He do a little Juju dancing, man. That's what I want to see. Pat Mahomes, Juju Smith-Schuster, man. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, man. He making all these guys look good.
He had a nice game, too.
Yeah, he did.
Exactly, man. So I'm looking at this right now. There's a nice little DraftKings. Shout out to DraftKings promo. There's a 1st to 7 for a W, man. If they score 7-0, you automatically win the money line. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put that in 50 piece, just like I did with the Bills. Shout outs to Josh Allen. Now Thursday Night Football, Patty Mahomes, man. It's fun betting on the best quarterbacks, man. It is fun to bet on the best quarterback. Yeah, I'm hoping, man, they get ball first because you know what my homeboy going to do, man.
Yeah. Woo! They score no matter what. I feel like every time I watch the Chiefs, it just seems like they automatically score on their first drive, and I expect this to be a back and forth game. Now, at the same time, I think a lot of people thought that, and I know we all picked the Bills last week, but I thought the Rams would have a better showing out than they did last week, and I'm just hoping that we have a little bit better of a Thursday night game this week. So Zio, that's the one I'm watching too. But there is another random Sunday game that I'm kind of eyeing, and that's the Dolphins-Ravens game. I think it's just kind of two teams. I really want to see what the Dolphins can do against a playoff caliber team because they manhandled the Patriots. That was one of the best picks I've seen in a long time. But that tip, I think it was Xavier Howard tipped that ball out of the end zone and tipped it to his safety. That hell of a play. Their defense looked really good. Granted, the Patriots offense isn't the best. But I just kind of want to see if this Dolphins team is for real, if Tua can do what he can do against a good team. Specifically, Tyreek Hill looked great.
He looked good.
I think that was really good. Jalen Waddle, hell of a tandem down there in Miami. So they have a lot of pieces in place with a really good defense. Can Tua just do it? So and the other thing is Lamar's long ball, man. His long ball. I know it was against the Jets, but man, he was hitting his deep throws, and I think that's something we haven't seen. It's usually that kind of mid-range game to Mark Andrews. But he was focusing on his deep ball threats out there with
Duvernay. Come on, man.
And, who would have thought, man?
Yeah, Duvernay, man. Come on, man.
Oh, I watching that game, man. I had Mark Andrews on my team. I'm like, bro, this dude got 0 tutties, man. Only 50 yards. I used a 3rd rounder on this dude this year. I never go tight end early. Bust. And he got that little embarrassment of a performance. But my Lord, he better bounce back, man. Or he going a timeout, man. Give me 54 yards. Come on, cuh. 3rd rounder.
And Lamar
getting the touchdowns was
and Lamar wasn't running as much.
That was very surprising.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think it's surprising considering he doesn't have that contract.
Yeah, there you go.
It's surprising at all.
Actually, you're right. Great point.
I don't think I think he's. I wonder what is the prop bet or whatever you call that for like his rushing yards this year. Like I wonder what that is
per game or total.
Like total.
I think last year
I would probably say around 800. It was probably around 800.
Hammer the under.
Hammer the under.
Hammer the under. Whatever it is, hammer the under. Because I don't think he's going to put himself in any type of. Now, if the game is, and like they said, they played the Jets, so it wasn't a tightly contested game. But if the game is close, then I think he would. But if there's any chance where they're up more than a score, I don't think there's going to be. He'll just take a sack. Like I don't think he's going to be putting himself until
when they need him to make a play.
Yeah,
a play out of him, he'll do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's a game I definitely want to check
I'm
out.
surprised, Pat. I'm surprised you haven't picked your Bears, man, to see if they were fluke the game one, man.
I mean, yeah, I want
technically elite team.
I want to see him play the Packers, but it's at Lambeau. I have my expectations. I'm sure you know where they are.
It is a 10-point spread.
Yeah,
so pretty much.
I think they could cover.
A blowout.
I think they could cover, but at the same time, like the Bears defense did look really good. And the thing is, the Niners defense is also very good, and they were all playing under the same conditions. So, I thought the Bears had their moments.
Judge, yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, because really the rain.
It was nuts outside. Yeah,
an outlier.
Exactly. But got 1 point from me, and I wasn't pissed at all because I'm like, dude, it was a monsoon. So
yeah. I mean, look, it wasn't raining the whole time, and the Bears' offense, granted, was not doing well when it wasn't raining for some reason. But their defense did look really good throughout the entire game, even though it was against Trey Lance as quote unquote rookie quarterback. I still consider it that because he's so raw. So yeah, I am excited to see that Sunday night game. It is prime time. Bears do not do well in prime time, or they choke last second in prime time. So that's where my expectations are, fellas.
Yeah, my expectation is Aaron Rodgers with a virtuoso performance, man.
Okay.
And I want the belt, man. I want Aaron Rodgers is flexing on the Bears again because he need to make up that 3-point fantasy football performance, man.
He
wasted it by Saquon performance this week. He wasted it.
He really did.
Wasted it.
I think I'm rooting for the Bears because I want Barstool Big Cat to go ape shit on
he's so funny.
Twitter and Instagram to just talk about because he's gonna either tweet two things. He's either gonna tweet Bears are back or he's gonna say Aaron Rodgers deserves to go to jail. So so those are two reasons why I actually want to root for the Bears because it'll just be great content. But for me, I have 2 games, but really just one that I'm keying on is the matchup between Tampa Bay and the Saints this week. I was like, I didn't watch the Saints game until I saw the highlights because it was so much stuff going on in the bar I was in. But I did manage to see the comeback. And just in that kind of pseudo 2-minute offense that Jameis was running with the Saints, it really really put down some factors of Michael Thomas looks back and healthy.
Oh, wow.
Jarvis Landry looks back and healthy.
He got 100 yards.
Yeah. And Chris Olave is a great third option. So, now their offensive line was having issues in the first half, but if they can kind of get that offensive line issues just to where it's average or manageable, I think that gives the Saints a really good chance to beat the Bucs because, like I say, the defense for the Bucs I was very impressed with. Tom Brady throwing to Julio, that was cool. Him doing some in around some stuff, but like we've all said on this podcast, the Saints have had the Bucs number. And last year when Jameis was playing against the Bucs, they were driving on the Bucs until he got injured. So I'm very interested to see how that shakes out because there's nobody else in the South that I'm like, okay, they're a team that's going to come up. I think the Saints are that team. So that being an early division game, that might set the tone of how the division race may go. So that's one that's very interesting. And then Zoo mentioned earlier about the NFC not looking good. That brings me to, I think it's a Monday night game with Minnesota and Philly. Maybe this is a precursor. Maybe it's a precursor to maybe a championship game that's going to be further down the pipe. Like you said, Jalen looked good throwing the ball to A.J. Brown. Now, I want to see him throw it to other guys because I don't want him to be so dependent on A.J. Brown.
He got those googly eyes, man. He got those
really
Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp googly eyes, man.
And maybe it was just more
for one receiver.
I think maybe it was just more him getting acclimated first game. You just want to show that, hey, I can do this. But I do want to see him spread the ball a little bit more and their running game to develop. I think the Eagles' defense is good. And like you say, to your point, Zoo, about the Vikings, they're pretty much a complete team. Like, you have an elite back in Dalvin Cook, a really good backup in Madison. Irv Smith Jr. is a really good tight end. Justin Jefferson is an all-pro guy. Thielen is a solid number 2. There's not a lot of weak points with Minnesota. So I kind of want
Kirk, man.
Kirk Cousins, it didn't look like it was just, he did depend on Jefferson a lot, but he was making really good throws. Now they were up the entire game, so it's not like there was any pressure. But I mean, he looked like above average quarterback. So if you can get that consistent Kirk, then it's not crazy that they can make the NFC Championship game. And like you say, conversely with the Eagles, Dallas is now out of the picture. So now you're going to be fighting with, I'm not a believer in the Giants. They look good, but I'm not a believer in them. Washington's kind of sneaky if you can get consistency from Wentz. But if I had to pick a team at the East, that's a really big if. So if I had to pick somebody at the East, I think I would like the Eagles. So they just present a lot of upside. So that might be, you know, that's a sneaky one on Monday night that I don't know if the NFL planned that. Maybe they did, but you know, that could be something that, Goodell maybe do something. You know, that could be a game that maybe further down the line it might be some playoff implications and how we could maybe see that matchup in the future. And I just like you say when Zoo mentioned it about the NFC East and the NFC not being good, I was like, that's actually a matchup that might be interesting, and it's Monday night, so we're going to see how that shakes out. I don't know who I would pick in that. I'm guessing I think it's at the Eagles. So I mean,
is it at Philly? Because that's a tough place to play. And neither is Minneapolis.
Yeah, it's at Philly. Yeah, it's at Philly.
Yeah.
So
Philly's a 2-point favorite, and that's just because of the home field advantage. So it's pretty much close to a pick'em game. Pretty much a pick'em game.
Well, it's going to be very interesting. So, like I say, week 1 gave us everything we asked for. Like I said, the 1 o'clock slate was insane. Like I say, shout out to my boy's a Browns fan. He was going crazy in the bar when we watched that kick. Because I want to be honest, we was in a bar that had a predominantly amount of Steeler fans, and they were just like giving a concessive speech of like, "Hey, you guys got potential." Like like wait till Deshaun comes back, and then he nails it, and he just proceeded to tell all of them to F off. So, like, shout out to him. I was pretty intrigued by how the Browns played against the Panthers, but you know, like you say, week 2 is going to be a lot of content for football coming out. Make sure you guys are tuned into that. Like you say, we're all NFL. There will be other storylines, basketball, but for now, in the month of September, we are strictly football. So make sure you follow us on Bullheaded864 on TikTok, Bullheaded_pod on Instagram. We're on the DSPs. I did see that we were having trouble with some of the DSPs getting out. I'm going to have to maybe look into a new host. I'm not sure. I know it's coming out on Apple, but on Spotify, and I think Google is kind of acting weird. So if you guys have any questions, just make sure to hit my DMs on Instagram. I'll figure it out. And for me, Zoo, and P-Bush, we're out.